Okay, so question number one. The equation shows a reaction in the contact process which change would move the position of equilibrium to the left. Means to the left, like backward, okay? Since the reaction is exothermic because the delta H is negative. So adding more oxygen, no. Why? Because when you would be adding more oxygen, so the concentration of the reactant side would be higher, means that would be at a higher potential. So
So
it
would
would
move
move
forward.
from, yeah, exactly what they're saying, left. So then increasing the pressure, then we have to see the number of moles. So in the reactant side, I have 2 plus 1,
Two
3
plus
moles,
one.
and this is 2 moles. So if we would be increasing the pressure, so the reaction would move forward. Like I told you, always remember the things always move from higher potential to the lower potential. So this is also incorrect. Then we have to check C, increasing the temperature, increasing the temperature. Since the
No.
reaction is exothermic, since the reaction is exothermic, so after increasing the temperature of an exothermic system, the reaction would move backward. The reaction would move backward. Backward means to the left, right to the left. Okay, so that's
Yes.
why C is your correct option. And what about D? Removing SO3. Like if you would be removing SO3, means that your product would be at a lower potential and reactant would be at a higher potential.
So move from
So
left
yeah,
to
exactly.
right to
It would
left.
move from left to the right. So means it would be
Yes.
moving to the forward direction. So this is also wrong. That's why C is correct. Then 32 says a reversible reaction involves a solid reacting with hydrogen. Which of the metals, aluminium and iron, would catalyze the reaction and what is their effect on the position of equilibrium? So remember, aluminium. Aluminium is not a transition metal. We have learned that only the transition metals can be used as a catalyst. So iron, 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 iron. So both aluminium and iron? No. Both aluminium and iron? No. Only it is used as a catalyst because this is a transition metal. So it may be C, it may be D. I told you catalyst only changes the rate of reaction. It
It
doesn't
makes it
affect,
faster.
yeah, equilibrium. So means that D for doctor is
No
correct
change.
because, yeah, exactly, no change. Exactly, no change. Okay. Uh, okay, this is repeated question. This is repeated question now. 21 says, which statement is correct for all the reversible reactions that have reached dynamic equilibrium? So, introduction of a catalyst changes the position? No, catalyst doesn't change the position of the reaction. It only changes the rate. It only increases the speed of the reaction. So B says the number of moles of products equal the number of moles of reactant. So this is not mandatory that whenever we have any reaction that have reached the dynamic equilibrium, as you have seen in this question, this is having a dynamic equilibrium. So in the reactant side, you can see the total moles are 3, and in the product side, you can see the total moles are 2. Since the moles are not the same, but this is still having dynamic equilibrium. So
Reverse.
this is
Yeah.
not mandatory. Exactly. This is not mandatory. So B is also incorrect. Then we have to check option C. The rate of the forward reaction equals the rate of backward reaction. Yeah, this is true. This is true for all of the reversible reaction that have reached dynamic equilibrium. In fact, this is the definition of dynamic equilibrium. Whenever examiner would ask to define dynamic equilibrium, so you would be writing that the rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of backward reaction. Okay. And then D says when the reaction reaches the position of equilibrium, the reaction stops. No, the reaction would never stop. In kinetic particle theory, we have learned that all the particles are in a random motion. So when they would be moving, when they would be traveling, they would be reacting. So the reactant would be changing into the product. So the product would be changing back into the reactant. So remember, D is also the wrong one. So only C is correct. Okay. And question number 18. The equation shows the reaction for the manufacture of ammonia, which change will decrease the activation energy of the reaction. So, of course, only the catalyst will change the activation energy. Okay, temperature, pressure, concentration, surface area, volume, they will never change the activation energy. Only the catalyst will decrease the activation energy, because catalyst can be defined in many ways. Number one, it increases the rate of reaction, it decreases the activation energy, it provides alternative pathway, and you can say without it's being used without it's being used. So this is one of the characteristic of a catalyst, that it lowers the activation energy. That's why option A is correct. Okay.
Okay.
And which statement about sulfur dioxide is correct? No, 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 no. Yeah, when water is liquid, it ionizes slightly. Okay. Okay. The forward reaction is endothermic. Okay. When the temperature of water is increased, which changes take place since the reaction is endothermic? So we have learned that if we are going to increase the temperature, if we are going to increase the temperature of an endothermic system, so the reaction would move forward. So the reaction would move forward, remember. Okay. So forward means that we would be having H positive ions and OH negative ions. So they are saying the water becomes acidic, the water becomes alkaline, more water molecules form ions, more water molecules form ions. So what do you think? What is supposed to be? Yes,
Sir, is it D?
like three only?
Yes.
Why? You know, they are saying water becomes acidic. Acidic means that only this ion is going to increase, and alkaline means that only this ion is going to increase. No, this is not true, because both ions are going to increase. Both ions are going to increase. When both ions are going to increase, it means that I cannot say that the water becomes acidic and the water becomes alkaline, but I can say that the
Yes.
reaction is endothermic. After increasing the temperature, the reaction would
Yeah,
move
because the
forward.
ionesis is slightly.
Yeah,
So
exactly. When
after
it would be moving
applying
forward,
heat,
I would be having more ions. Okay, I would be having more
yes.
ions if if it would be moving forward. Yeah. And this question, ammonia is manufactured by the Haber process. The forward reaction is exothermic. Which statement about the Haber process is correct? A low pressure is used to shift the position of equilibrium to the right? No, the reactant side is going to have 4 moles and the product side is going to have 2 moles. So I told you, when you would be increasing the pressure of this system, when the moles of reactants are higher than the moles of the product, so
It
the
moves
reaction would move
flexible.
forward. Yeah. So they are saying a low pressure. No, a high pressure is needed. A high pressure is needed. So this is wrong. Then I would check B. A high temperature is used to shift the position of the equilibrium to the right. No, it's exothermic reaction. When you would be increasing the temperature of an exothermic reaction, so the reaction would move backward. They are saying to the right. They are saying to the right. No, it's wrong. Then in C, an iron catalyst is used to shift the position of equilibrium to the right. No, catalyst doesn't change the position of equilibrium. Okay, the catalyst doesn't change the position of equilibrium. So then D says nitrogen used is obtained from the air. Yeah, this is correct. because all are the options incorrect, so of course there is one and only option left that would be correct, of course. So that's why option D is right. um, we would be learning this concept like how nitrogen is obtained from the air. Basically we do fractional distillation of air. In air we have
There are many gases.
21% oxygen and
70.
78% nitrogen. Yeah. So we can separate nitrogen gas from the air. And after having the nitrogen gas, we can react this nitrogen gas with the hydrogen. It would be forming ammonia. Simple. That's where D is correct. Okay, or they are saying the table contains some facts about sulfur dioxide and sulfuric acid and comments on these facts. Which raw is correct? Fact number 1A. In the manufacture of sulfuric acid, sulfur reacts with oxygen to make sulfur trioxide. Sulfur reacts with oxygen. No, no, sulfur dioxide reacts with oxygen to form sulfur trioxide. Remember. So this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. And in option B, nickel is used as the catalyst in the contact. No, no, in the contact process, we have the catalyst that is V2O5. That is V2O5. We have two famous processes. We have two famous processes. Number one, Haber process. Number two, contact process. Let me tell you that in Haber process, what we are supposed to do, as you can see, this is the Haber process. Okay. So in a Haber process, these are the raw materials that we would be having, that we must have: nitrogen and oxygen, nitrogen and hydrogen gas. So what is the source of nitrogen? Fractional distillation of air, as air contains 78% nitrogen, and source of hydrogen is electrolysis of water and decomposition of methane. So of course, after getting hydrogen and nitrogen, so we can react them, and they would be forming ammonia. This is the equation. This is the equation in which we can see how ammonia is going to form. W- There was a scientist named as Fritz Haber. So he had prepared ammonia by this process, okay, and he mentioned
Yes.
some conditions, that the temperature should be 450 degrees Celsius and the pressure should be 200 atmospheric, and the catalyst is iron. When you would be providing such conditions to the nitrogen and hydrogen, then we can see the formation of ammonia. And if you are not going to provide these conditions, so you will not be forming ammonia gas. And this reaction is exothermic, remember. That's why this much energy is released. That is minus 88 minus negative.
Extra.
Negative means that this is an exothermic system. Energy is released basically. Okay. So, and then we have a contact process. In this process, we prepare sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is H2SO4. This is very important chemical which is used in many industries. So first of all, we generally react sulfur with dry air. Like sulfur reacts with oxygen to form sulfur dioxide, and then sulfur dioxide reacts with oxygen to form sulfur trioxide. So this is equilibrium. This is a reversible reaction. This is a reversible reaction. Okay. And if this is a reversible reaction, so of course I told you that reversible reaction can never go to completion. We must provide some conditions to get maximum yield. This is the condition. The temperature should be 450 degrees Celsius, and the catalyst should be V2O5. The catalyst should be V2O5. And again, this is an exothermic reaction. So basically, both are exothermic reaction. Okay, whether we have Haber process, whether we have contact process. So you must know the temperature, you must know the pressure, you must know the catalyst.
And the
Okay.
catalyst.
Yeah, exactly. The catalyst, the temperature is 450 degrees Celsius and the pressure is 200 kilopascal. And the pressure is, and the pressure is 200, and the pressure is
200
200
kilopascal.
kilopascal, or you can say 20, or you can say
Oh,
2 atmosphere. 2 atmosphere is equal to 200 kilopascal. Okay, so these are the two very important process named as contact process and a Haber process. Now you can have a comparison. Now you can have a comparison. So
then
option
what
A
is
was in, sorry,
B2O5? The catalyst name is
yeah,
B2O5.
vanadium 5 oxide. The name of a catalyst is vanadium 5 oxide. So they are saying in option B, nickel is used as the catalyst in the contact process. No, this is wrong. In option C, sulfuric acid is used in car batteries. This increases the efficiency of the petrol engine. Oh, okay. This is incorrect because, yeah, sulfuric acid is used in car batteries. That's true,
Wait,
but the comment is wrong. This increases the efficiency of the petrol engine. How is that possible?
what's the connection between car batteries and
Yeah,
petrol engine?
exactly. There is no connection. So again, I would say that option D is correct. They are saying the use of low sulfur petrol is beneficial because it minimizes the formation of acid rain. Yep, this is true. And you know why? Because when you are going to use a petrol which is going to have sulfur, so it would be releasing sulfur dioxide, and it would be
Which
reacting
causes
with
acid rain.
yeah, it would be reacting with the, you can say, moisture with water. It would be forming sulfuric acid which causes acid rain. So that's why D for doctor is correct. Then again this is repeated question, then again this is repeated question. Yeah. uh okay, now see this. Question number 18. In a closed flask, gases Q and R reach a dynamic equilibrium. Delta H is positive, which shows that the reaction is endothermic. Which
Endo.
change will move? Yeah, endothermic. Which change will move the equilibrium to the right? Adding a catalyst?
The
No.
first one is not
Catalyst?
right.
Yeah, exactly. A is not correct. Decreasing the temperature. Uh, yeah,
No, no.
decreasing the temperature because why? Because this is endothermic reaction. If you will be increasing the temperature, so the reaction would be moving to the right. And they are saying decreasing the temperature. Yeah, so the reaction would move to the left. Okay, this is wrong. Then you can see C option, increasing the pressure. Increasing the pressure. Pressure means that this is more moles, this is less moles. This is one,
Yes.
this is two. So
So high
higher to
potential
lower.
to
This is wrong because
yes.
it would move to the left. Of course, there is only one option left, that
Yes.
is D, because they are saying increasing the volume of the flask. Increasing, what's the relation between the volume and pressure? When they are going to increase the volume, they are going to decrease the pressure. When the
Yes, correct. So
pressure
they're inversely
decreases,
proportional.
exactly. So when the pressure decreases, so the reaction would
Volume
move
increases.
to the right. So the reaction would
Yes.
move to the right. So that's why D for doctor is correct. Again, repeated question, repeated question. Yeah, this is good one. But you don't know the concept of acid base, so I'm going to leave this question. Or, yeah, this one. The table shows some symbols and their meanings. Single arrow, reaction goes to completion. Okay. Okay. Double arrow, reaction is reversible. Okay. Catalyst required for reaction, and no catalyst is. Which
Is it
symbols?
C?
B for ball,
C, C, C for cat.
C for cat. Yeah, this is correct because when we are going to have a Haber process in which we have seen that the reaction was reversible and catalyst were needed. That was iron. That was iron,
Yes.
exactly. Or you can see this one. You can see this one, question number 13.
Yes, sir.
Mhm, mhm.
So, sir, the reaction is exothermic.
Yeah, the reaction is exothermic. So, which change in condition will both increase the rate and increase the equilibrium? And increase the equilibrium. Option A, decrease concentration of X when you will be decreasing the concentration of X. So, the rate will be decreasing
Decreases
because the concentration
with wrong.
is directly proportional to the rate. We have discussed this in the last class. This is wrong. We are saying which change in condition will increase. Option A is incorrect. Then we have to try B. Increase pressure. Pressure. When you will increase the pressure, so means that we have 4 moles in the reactant side and 2 moles in the product side.
So, let's write.
So forward, exactly to the right, to the
Yes.
right.
High
So
potential
increases
low.
the equilibrium yield of Z. Yeah,
Yeah,
yield means amount
correct.
of product. So I would be getting more amount of Z. Yeah, that's true. But but increasing pressure will increase the rate. Yes, because when we increase the pressure, so the volume decreases. Particles come
Rate
close
increase.
to each
Yeah, come
other.
close
They
and
would be
collide with each other
colliding in
to
a frequent manner. Yeah, they would be colliding in a frequent manner. And hence, I can say the rate would be increasing. So, option B for ball is correct. Are you getting my point?
yes.
Okay. So,